In this video, I'll be exploring a question you should always be asking yourself and your team when running a business. Where's the... My name is Kyle Sullerud. I'm the founder and CEO of AdLeg, a marketing company that specializes in running YouTube ads. And there's one question that I believe deserves a lot of focus when you're running any type of business. The question is, where's the bottleneck? In other words, what part of my business is causing other parts of my business to slow down or stop? What is the weakest link? Fixing the weakest link and removing the bottleneck is usually the biggest leverage opportunity in your business, because fixing just this one thing will then have a positive impact on multiple things. It's important to note here, the question isn't, is there a bottleneck? The question is, what is the bottleneck? I believe there is always a bottleneck, and I'll explain why in this video. Any business can be broken down into different systems, different departments, and each system will have its own components. You could look at the business as a whole and identify one major system as the bottleneck, but each system has its own bottlenecks. And within each system, there are even more detailed systems, and those systems have bottlenecks too. To illustrate this and explain why there is always a bottleneck, I'm going to use an example of a high-ticket call funnel that uses YouTube ads to drive traffic. I think this example will make sense for everyone, even if you're in a completely different type of business or you've never even run YouTube ads. The system looks like this. We have our YouTube ads. This is the source of traffic. You may have other traffic sources, but in order to simplify this, we'll analyze YouTube ads as the only traffic source. These ads are sending people to a landing page where they opt in for a free webinar. From there, the goal is to get the right people to fill out an application for a discovery call, a sales call, essentially. You then want to have calls with qualified applicants, and on the call, if your offer is a good fit for the prospect, then you get them signed up as a customer. Once they're a customer, you of course need to fulfill and deliver the thing they just signed up for. It's important to know your numbers for every step of your system so you can track your improvements. And it helps to have goals and benchmarks. To see some benchmarks you can consider for this particular type of funnel, you can check out another video that I've made called Are My YouTube Ads Working? In that video, I talk about some baseline metrics if you're running YouTube ads to a high-ticket call funnel. I'll put the link in the description if you want to check that video out. But back to our example. Let's add in some hypothetical numbers. I'm going to leave off fulfillment. That's a large system by itself with its own bottlenecks. We'll assume for now that the fulfillment team has plenty of capacity to take on more customers. Let's say you're spending $30,000 a month on YouTube ads. Those ads are bringing 15,000 people to your landing page. 5,000 of those people are registering for your webinar. 200 of those people are filling out your application, and half of those applicants are both qualified and show up to a sales call. Of those 100 people who talk to your sales team, 10 of them sign up for a $4,000 offer. So from $30,000 in ad spend, you're generating $40,000 in gross revenue. Now, with fulfillment expenses and sales and marketing commissions and overhead costs, you're probably not making much profit with those numbers. So let's ask our question, where's the bottleneck? And then we can start to solve the problem. That's really all this is a math problem. And it might take some creativity and business acumen to solve, but it's just math. Looking at these numbers, I can quickly see two obvious bottlenecks. The percentage of people who fill out an application after opting in for the webinar, and the sales close percentage, the closing ratio. With this data in hand, we can now work on clearing the bottlenecks. I'll start with the sales close percentage, because with just a 10% close rate from qualified sales calls, This looks to be the biggest opportunity for improvement. To elaborate on this example and give you some more insight into how I would approach this problem, here are some possible things you could do to improve your close rate. You could work on improving the competency of your sales team, maybe with some better product knowledge or some new sales skills. That team could do a better job closing. Or maybe there are some underperformers on the team that you need to let go of and move on. If you're using a slide deck for your sales, maybe there's something in your slides that can be improved that will improve the close rate. Maybe there's a problem with your appointment availability. If people can't book an appointment to talk to your team right away and they're forced to talk to someone a week later, well, by the time they get on the phone, they may have lost excitement for the thing that you are going to offer them. With more appointment availability, people will be able to talk to your team quicker, and your sales team won't be fighting such an uphill battle. You could also take a look at your email follow-up leading up to the sales call, or your retargeting campaigns, things that will keep you in the top of your customer's mind so that by the time they're talking to your team, they're ready to go. So let's say you found some opportunities here. You let your lowest performing salespeople go, you hired some new people and grew your team, you improved your email follow-up and added some retargeting, and you're able to increase your close percentage from 10% to 20%. This may seem like a big jump, but with the right focus on a sales bottleneck, it actually isn't an unreasonable improvement. Now let's look at the other bottleneck. Let's take a look at the percentage of people who fill out an application after opting in for the webinar. This is only 4%, and I know this could be as high as 10% or more. Some things you might consider to break through a bottleneck like this would be looking at your webinar. Can you restructure it or say things differently so more people are filling out the application once they watch the webinar? You can also look at your email follow-up. Not everybody is going to book an application immediately after seeing your webinar, or maybe they barely watched any of the webinar. So a good email sequence is going to bring more of those people who opted in back to your content and get them to fill out your application. You might need to look at traffic quality. Maybe you're sending low quality traffic into the webinar, and that's the reason so few people are booking appointments. Or maybe you can think of new things to do to boost this percentage. Maybe just adding some retargeting campaigns will help you get in front of these people again so they don't forget about you, and you can lead them down the path of filling out the application. Again, there are a lot of things you can do to solve any bottleneck, and you, as the business owner, need to figure out what these possibilities are and what you should be focusing on. So let's say you increase the percentage of people filling out an application from 4% up to 6%. Not a huge improvement, but definitely better. So let's revisit our numbers. With the same $30,000 ad spend, the same 15,000 people going to the landing page, and the same 5,000 people opting in, we now have 300 people filling out the application. If half of those people are still qualified and showing up to a sales call, we're now talking to 150 people instead of 100. And with a close rate of 20%, that brings us to 30 new customers instead of 10, which amounts to $120,000 in revenue. Sounds great. Let's celebrate for a little bit, but we still have a business to run. So let's ask the question again, where is the bottleneck? Now that the funnel is profitable, one bottleneck is the traffic. Let's try to fix this bottleneck by scaling the YouTube ads from $30,000 to $60,000 per month. Now we're getting twice as much traffic, twice as many opt-ins, and twice as many applications. But the sales team was not prepared for this, and qualified leads literally aren't able to book appointments. So the number of qualified applicants who get on a call fell from 50% to 33%. So out of 600 applications, only 200 of them are qualified and showing up to a call. With our 20% close rate, that brings 40 new customers and $160,000 in revenue. That extra $30K in ad spend only produced an extra $40K in gross revenue. So now clearly we have a new bottleneck to solve. we need to grow the sales team so they can handle more calls. And I could go on all day, because every time we clear one bottleneck, new bottlenecks are created. As you go through this process, the key is to try to get in front of your bottlenecks so you can clear them out before they actually become an issue. So don't just ask, where's the bottleneck? As you work to clear your bottlenecks, also start to ask the question, where's the bottleneck going to be? If you liked this video, be sure to break through that bottleneck between your hand and the like button and smash that like button. And leave a comment below. Let me know, do you think about your business in terms of bottlenecks? What are some of your bottlenecks right now? As I mentioned earlier, my company, AdLeg, specializes in YouTube ads. We help break through traffic bottlenecks, but we also pay attention to every step of our clients' funnels because of how important the complete system is. If you want to learn more about working with us, click the link in the description and you'll be taken to a page where you can see some of our client testimonials and learn a little more about how our service works. Thanks for watching today's video. Again, my name is Kyle Sullerud, and I'll see you in the next bottleneck.